So welcome back to the Dork Mother. Today I'm going to be talking about why I think Rotten Tomatoes is bull. First and foremost, I don't know who decided is there critic school? Like, I'm ignorant on the subject and I apologize if there's a school, you go to film school and instead of making movies, you critique them. Whatever. If that's your deal, whatever, but I feel like there's a problem that there's some dishonesty and there's some people that are getting bought by companies. Like 9 times out of 10 every single Marvel/Disney movie is going to be rated high. Okay, like for example, Star Wars Last Jedi. Okay, the audience were like and I personally, the originals and hell, even the prequels, I'll give thumbs up to. But this new trilogy, I haven't been able to get into it. But the audience score was meh, and then the critic score was So does that seem like somebody's getting paid off? I think so. Now on the opposite end of the spectrum, you got your DC films and the DCEU, which I admit have their flaws. But every movie has their flaws. So if you're going to pick stuff apart, you got to pick apart everybody. But the deal is that in those cases, and not always, I can be objective, but not always, but in a lot of cases, the critic scores, and the audience scores, and that topic is what I'm going to be talking about today. Okay, so I don't know how old the people are watching this, but I myself am pushing 34, and so I've, seen quite a few movies. Now, the first one I'm going to talk about is, like I said, the situation is not all movies are going to be, how should I say, award winners. But for sheer entertainment value, I'm going to give them a thumbs up as opposed to a critic. The movie I'm going to talk about is Grandma's Boy. Came out in 2006. Now, it's part of the Adam Sandler, umbrella of people, Alan Covert, who is like a sidekick in 9 out of 10 of Adam Sandler's movies, Nick Swardson, Dante, who I can't remember his last name, but he's in, or maybe it's Peter Dante, maybe Dante's his last name, but he's in a ton of his movies. But it's just an early Jonah Hill. I want to say this is one of his second or third, bigger movies. Like I said, it's not huge, but for sheer comedic value and like stupid funny, and y'all can make fun of stuff all you want, but I guarantee you some of you out there are like, yeah, Adam Sandler makes dumb stuff, but every time Billy Madison's on TV, I'm gonna watch it. Okay, so it's one of those kind of things. It's dumb. It's a lot about smoking weed, stuff like that. But the comedic and the, how should I say, the quotability of it, like Nick Swardson talking about his roommates because he doesn't want to admit that he lives at home with his parents still. Be like, your bed's a race car. Yeah, but it's a sweet car. Like I said, if you want just comedic value and you're not looking for some profound, moving, stuff. Like I said, and it's hilarious to me that, like, first of all, like I said, I know today I was trying to make this video, Rotten Tomatoes was not cooperating, so I couldn't get their perfect ratings, but I did some Googling and trying to find their ratings on other sites, so I don't know if this is currently up to date, but according to this, IMDb's rating for that movie is a 7. Critics have it at an 18. So that's what, certified rotten, isn't that what they call it? But users, 86%. So you're telling me if you ask 100 people, Family Feud style, 86 of them are going to be like, yeah. But critics are like, no. To me, it sounds like that critics are too stuffy-shirted and don't know what's good for them. Sometimes you just want to drink a beer, or in some case, hit the bong, for some people, not myself, and, just want to have a good time. Okay, so next one on my list is The Accountant, which came out in 2016. Now, I probably got some Ben Affleck haters out there. You can't hate on the dude too bad because the dude's won awards, okay? And you may not like him or whatever, but the dude does some good stuff. Now, the thing about The Accountant I like is that, first of all, the guy who directed it, Gavin O'Connor, did movies like Warrior with Tom Hardy and Joel Edgerton, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. And so the dude does good work. This movie has Ben Affleck, John Bernthal, oh God, who else? J.K. Simmons. J.K. Simmons is legit. Okay, you can't hate on J.K. Simmons. But like I said, and I'm a big John Berthal fan. So, and I don't personally know anybody with autism, but I mean, for the movie to show somebody who, granted he goes about it in a messed up way, but he's high, like he can move beyond the autism and he like kicks ass, essentially. Like he's a normal guy, except for, he has issues with light and sound and touching him and stuff like that. But like, I don't know. For me, it seems like kind of like a hero story. Like you have this debilitating thing that you've overcome, and granted in a shitty way, but you've overcome it, and now you're out here kicking ass and protecting people. Like, yeah, he did some bad stuff, but like his whole general idea is that he protects people. I mean, Anna Kendrick, who I love, he meets her and he protects her. I mean, they want to take her out because of things she knows, and he goes out of his way to save her, even though interaction with people is not something that's comforting for him, And it's like, okay, like, I don't know. It bothers me that if people, hate on like, and I hear there's going to be a sequel, and I mean, I can't wait because I freaking love it. But, so the, scores for that are, first of all, it has a 7.3 on IMDb, which is pretty good, okay? I'd say. The critics gave it a 51, which to me is still not bad, because that's better than half. Granted, it's only one better than half, but that's better than half of the critics were like, okay. And then 77% of users. So what you're saying, the audience scores, so what you're saying, like I said before, 77 out of 100 people you're going to ask are going to be like, all right, come on guys, it's not that bad. Like, come on. I know I'm going to catch flack on this next one, but Justice League. Okay, so came out in 17. Like I said, I'm a lover of DC, and I will admit that it has its issues. The whole dark, visuals of it, like it could have been brighter. But at the same time, Avengers is too bright. You can't get immersed in it if you're freaking getting blinded every 2 seconds by some bright light. I would like somewhere in the middle between them, personally. But, you get the introduction of Ezra Miller's Flash. Well, you got a little bit of him in Batman vs. Superman, but like, I mean, you get to fleshed out, you get to spend some time with him, see what he's about. And the same with Aquaman. Like I said, I'm a big Momoa fan, so I'm down with that. I've watched a lot of Ezra Miller's, independent stuff, so, I'm a fan of his. I mean, honestly, I think this is one of the first big budget things he's done. Like I said, if you look at a superhero movie for what it is, it's fun. You get to see your favorite heroes on screen, doing crazy stuff, saving the day. If you look at it for that and not some award, bait type movie where people are going to be, I came out of that, it changed my life. If you don't go into it with that mentality, if you just go to it, I'm going to have a good time. I don't understand why people don't like it. Now, go into it, its ratings are not quite as good. It is got a 6.4 on IMDb, so still not bad, but not great. 40% from critics. And then 77% for the users, the audience members. Like I said, you just have to look at these movies for what they are. They're fun. You just have to go about it in a way that you don't go into it with high expectations. If you go into an Avengers movie with high expectations, you're going to get disappointed too. I'm just saying. Okay, and last but not least, Bright, which came out in 2017, Netflix original, directed by David Ayer, who directed Suicide Squad, which I honestly think people went into it like, it's going to be like Suicide Squad, and I don't want to touch it. Okay, Will Smith, love him or hate him, he's a box office draw. Joel Edgerton has a tendency to be more in, for the most part, in more artsy kind of stuff, but he does do action stuff. You got Edgar Ramirez, who has done some artsy stuff. He's done some big budget stuff, and it hasn't always worked out. The Point Break remake, but you can't pretend to be Swayze's character and think things gonna go right. But anyways, moving on. But I don't understand how people can go into a movie and that is a mix of like Lord of the Rings and Training Day, and not go, "Ooh, this is a good time," you know? Like, I'm sorry. Like, the idea that, fairy tale characters, or, in Joel Edgerton's character's case, an orc who's, I wouldn't say fairy tale, maybe more nightmare fuel character, is part of the real world and wants to become a cop. And, like, maybe in a not so serious way, like in a roundabout way, but they're really touching on things like racism and stuff like that. And people don't like him because of what he is, and, not, what he is capable of doing. And, like I said, a lot of these movies, you go into them, you should look at them in a fun way. But in this one, like, there's a message behind it. You just have to look under the surface. But as far as the scores go, I mean, 6.3 on IMDb, not super great. 30% for the critics, which, whatever. I mean, I think if anything has excessive profanity in it, the critics are going to go, "Meh." I'd actually like to look up sometime and see what Training Day says, because I don't know. That one was like one of the best movies of that like decade, probably more so. And people, there was a lot of profanity in it. Ethan Hawke and Denzel, they let it rip. But it just depends. I mean, if the right actor's in it, the critics will be like, profanity, no problem. Now this, okay. The user score, the audience, 89%. So you're telling me, okay, 30% of critics were like, meh, that's all we got. That's all you get, And yet 89% of the audience was like, all right. There's something wrong there, I feel like, not to get into conspiracy theories, but I feel like there's this situation going on with the big theaters and, the big movie companies are like, Netflix can't come in here. They've already tried to keep them out of the Oscars and stuff like that. So I wouldn't be so surprised if there wasn't some backroom dealings going on about, hey, critics, just anything that comes out of Netflix, so that, they don't get any big hits, like. And honest to God, like TV series, Netflix kills it, Stranger Things, Sabrina, stuff like that. But like, I honestly am drawing a blank right now if there's any movies that have just been like, that have killed it so hard that like, I mean, I tried to watch The Irishman. I couldn't do it. And it may have been nominated for different stuff, but like as far as like, a movie that's like killed it in every way, shape, or form, I don't think they've had that. So I think that's part of the problem, is that people don't want to take Netflix seriously as a movie. But we'll see. There's rumors that there's going to be a sequel, although there's been rumors that there's going to be a sequel from like the year it came out, and we're going on 3.5 years later. So we'll see. But these are some movies I feel that have been unfairly graded on Rotten Tomatoes, and that's why I think Rotten Tomatoes is BS. But you can form your own opinions. If you haven't watched some of these movies, I suggest you go do it. I hope you have a good day, and thanks for visiting the Dork Mother, and like and subscribe.